All right, guys, welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, episode 218. I'm actually over here in Orlando, Florida, USA currently. A guy is unwell. We were going to do a remote one, actually. However, I've got a fantastic interview today with an interesting golf story of Ryan Ruffels. Ryan's been on the channel a few times already. You'd have seen him. Last time we were over here, we filmed at Isleworth. We've had him over at JCB where he did the 10 Mulligan Challenge. We also took him to the pastures in Derby to try and shoot a course record that is only one on the par. But Ryan is an incredible golfer. He really is one of the best golfers I've ever played with. And it's interesting hearing his story today about his struggles, what he's got on with. He's been on tour for like 8 years now, how he burst onto the scene as being this kind of up-and-coming superstar talent, and then how the journey's been since then. So it's going to be really interesting to talk about that. And also, we do touch on the topic of LIV at the end of the chat as well, about what his thoughts were and whether he would sign if he was offered. Talking about LIV, it's the start of the new season this week and lots of new sign-ups. Obviously, John Rahm's new team, Legion 13. Tyrrell Hatton has just signed, which is, to be honest, I kind of felt like Tyrrell might have been one of the first players to sign a couple of years ago, but he's now taken the jump and he signed for LIV. Also, Adrian Meronk, DP World Tour Player of the Year, has jumped over to LIV, and there's quite a few more additions as well. John Rahm, obviously, it's his first season. It's over in Mexico. Be quite interesting to see whether more people will watch. Time will tell. I'm still not inclined to kind of watch all of it this weekend. I might watch bits of it, but obviously I'm over here in Orlando filming. But it's very interesting. The golf world currently right now, I think is as fractured as it's ever been. I really do. I don't think it's in a great spot. There's lots of talks, and we might have to do an emergency podcast when it does get announced. Lots of talks between PGA and PIF about this kind of collaboration that's supposed to be happening, which has been delayed. It's been delayed, and I believe it's been delayed again. But rumour has it that something is going to emerge this week. I think it needs to. I think something needs to happen because golf is very fractured. There's lots of tournaments going on all different places of the world. Some of the best players over there, some of the best players over there, and it's just not right. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's good for the game right now. We need all the best golfers in the world back together competing. You see that in the majors now, but even then, you're going to see some of the top players in the world, once their exemptions run out, you're not going to see them in the majors again. So it's a really, really interesting time. Being over here in Orlando, I came over for the PGA show, which is a huge golf convention that happens every year. And it's all people from the golf industry, from manufacturers to new inventions that are being tried and created to make the game easier, to PGA golf professionals, obviously. And it's quite an interesting place to talk about golf, and lots of chats have been had this week about, again, the game of golf and what position it's in right now. And a lot of people share the same thoughts as I do, that it's not in a great spot right now. We'll see what happens. But we filmed some incredible content this last week or so. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure when it's going to come out, because for the first time in a long time, we are really ahead of schedule. In fact, Dubai videos that we filmed in December have still yet to come out. So you're going to see probably a little bit of Dubai content, also mixed in with some of the USA content. So just to give you guys, the hardcore fans who listen to the podcast and watch the podcast as well, the videos probably won't come out in chronological order. So just be aware of that. There's going to be a bit of sometimes I'll be in Dubai using certain clubs or playing a certain way, and then I'll be over in America, and I've got a new driver in the bag. This week I have put a new driver in the bag. I've put the Cobra Dark Speed LS driver in the bag, and it's been doing very nicely. Not perfect, but it's been doing very, very nice. I can't wait for you to see those videos. So far this week, I got the honour and privilege to play at Bay Hill again. Last year, it swallowed me up, chewed me to... Well, it can't swallow, then chew me. It chewed me up, spat me out. It absolutely just killed me last year. It was one of the hardest golf courses I've ever played in my life. This year, we went back for redemption. And I'll be honest, I played a lot better. That video will be coming out the week of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, so make sure you're checking it out. Also, got the pleasure of going back at Bay Hill this week and filming a cool video with Micah Morris. Micah, obviously previous from Good. Not filmed for him since he's left Good. So that's a really cool video as well. I think you're going to enjoy that. He hits the ball so bloody far. He actually did a great video with Rory McIlroy. It's a long drive challenge that he did at a TaylorMade shoot. Check it out, because honestly, it's one of my favourite videos of the year. It's really good, great insight, and it's great to see guys like Rory and even Tiger starting to potentially open the doors up to making YouTube content. So that's a really cool video as well. You've got to check that out. And then got to go back to TPC Sawgrass. What a place. It really is the home of the Players Championship, which this year it's the 50th year anniversary of the Players. Incredible golf course. Again, I played nicely around there last year, but felt like I left a couple of shots out there, even though I birdied the last hole last year. That video will be going out the week of the Players Championship, so you can get an insight of the golf course, similar to Bay Hill and the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And it'll be interesting this year. Obviously, Tiger's going to be making a return at some point. I don't know if he'll play in both events, but I'm pretty sure he'll play in one of them. He's won 8 times at Bay Hill, and he's won, I can't remember, 3 times, I believe, at Sawgrass, or twice maybe. Be great to see Tiger back at one of those events as well. I think he'd go back to Bay Hill personally, because he's won so many times there. And is it a flatter walk? There's not much in it. Sawgrass is pretty flat, to be fair. And then that video coming out again the week of the Players. We had Nick the caddy back on the bag from last year. It's awesome. That place is one of the best places I've ever played golf. However, I understand it also comes at a premium. For a green fee now, Sawgrass has gone up to $900 a round. I believe it's the most expensive green fee in the US right now. So it's very nice. If you're not going to get a chance to play it, definitely watch the video, because we give you a real good insight of the golf course, and it really is magnificent. Also, got to play a new golf course. I'm actually wearing the cap right now. This is Cabot Citrus Farms, where today's podcast has been filmed as well. Not right now, this is just an Airbnb in Orlando, but yesterday we were at Citrus Farms, a brand new golf resort. Filmed there with Ryan Ruffels. Played off the back tees at 7,600 yards. And I don't want to give it away. That video will be out soon, but there was some incredible golf from actually me and Ryan yesterday, so check that out. And then today, last day here in Orlando, playing at Lake Nona, unbelievable golf course. I wanted to try this trip to secure a 10-shot challenge against a tour pro. Came very close a couple of times to securing something, but just too many moving parts. We didn't manage to lock a tour pro down, so that's a shame, but hopefully more 10-shot challenges will be coming very soon. There is one that I filmed at the end of last year that's not come out yet. It's going to come out in the month of February, so make sure you're checking that out as well. And then today playing Lake Nona, it's going to be awesome. Guys, hopefully, I know you will enjoy this podcast with Ryan Ruffels. He's such a cool guy. He's got into YouTube. He's starting a YouTube channel. He's doing a really good job on there. So if you're not checked out, do also as well. And we'll be back to normal service next week. I'll be back in Manchester. Guy will be feeling better, and we can have a real deep dive into everything that's going on in the world of golf right now. And who knows, we might actually have some definitive answers next week to what the future of professional golf looks like. Until that point, sit back and enjoy the YouTube videos and enjoy this interview with Ryan Ruffels. Well, Ryan, what a spot.
What a spot, mate.
This, honestly, we've just arrived about an hour ago here at Cabot Citrus Farms in Florida. One of the best new golf course in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard of it as of a week ago. There used to be a place here called World Woods, I believe, and I hadn't even heard of that. I've lived in Orlando the last 7 years or so, which is only an hour and 20 up the road, but kind of a hidden gem. My managers reached out to me and were like, come play it if you're home during the PGA show. Came out here last Friday, and what a spectacular place. And I messaged you and I was like, I think we got to do a video here.
Honestly, it's under construction almost at the moment, and it's properly actual grand opening in September.
Yeah.
it feels like it's pretty much close to opening already, but obviously there's some final touches. It's 2 golf courses. We're going to play the one that's open at the moment.
I think it's called Karoo or something like that, I believe. Yeah,
it's the noise that the cranes.
Oh, that's right. Those red cranes that are around here. Yeah. They're all over Florida. Yeah.
And we're going to shoot a cool video today, which will be out very soon, where, because it's so new, I want you to go out there and shoot a course record.
Set the course record. I don't know if there is one, or
I've heard through the grapevine you've currently got it.
Right.
Did you shoot 2 under the other day?
Yeah, I was 2 under, yeah.
I think you've got the course record.
Right.
I was chatting to the guys before.
Yeah.
So Louis Oosthuizen came out here and shot 1
Actually,
under.
no, scratch that, because I couldn't have been, because I didn't play the last hole.
Oh, so you've not got the course record?
Yeah, so I was 2 under with 1 to play. I forgot that. I had to take my coach to the airport. And so I had I didn't even think about it the other day when I was playing. But yeah, it couldn't be me because I didn't play the last hole the other day. So. And
I need to pronounce Louis' name correctly. Louis Oosthuizen.
Yeah.
I seem to always call it Louis Oosthuizen. Louis Oosthuizen is then currently got the course record at 1 under.
Okay.
So that's your target today.
Yeah, right.
To get out there. I mean, either of us could shoot the course record. Do you know what I mean? You know?
I believe in you.
Either of us.
I believe in you. I think you could.
I think the last time the guys who've watched the channel enjoyed. First off, the comments you get on the channel are superb.
Thank you.
People love seeing you on the channel from when we first played at Isleworth this time last year, which is probably almost exactly the same time as last year.
Exactly the same time. That was my introduction to YouTube golf.
And then the fact you came over to the UK and you did the challenge at JCB, and you also did the one at the Pastures, where you tried to set the course record. That's a very different golf course to here.
Very different. All 3 of them very different to each other.
Yeah.
And now all 4 very different to each other.
And I think getting you back on the channel again, and you've, in the last kind of 12 months, like you say, your almost introduction to YouTube golf, you've now set up your own channel.
Yeah, you definitely got me started when it comes to this. We did that video at Isleworth, which was super spontaneous. Like I didn't know about it till maybe 10 a.m. and we filmed at 12.
Weirdly, was it not supposed to be playing like with your sister or something?
I think you just I remember you put out an Instagram story, anyone in Orlando want to play today?
Yeah.
And I messaged you back and I was like, I'm in Orlando, I'm not doing anything today.
I think the pro at Isleworth had already said, can you play with Rick? And
I was like,
great.
I think we're playing together, but I don't know, but I'll play if you don't have anyone. And it came out of the blue. I've always done a fair bit on Instagram and stuff like that, but never YouTube. And it kind of got the wheel rolling a little bit for me, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. Maybe I could be decent at it as well, and a little bit of a supplement to my professional golf career. And since then, like you said, I've started my own channel, collaborated with you and a few different people. And
did you collaborate with Luke Kwan?
Luke Kwan, yeah. We went to the Dominican Republic a couple weeks ago. We were there for a week and we just filmed a bunch of stuff. And I've got a few videos for my channel coming out about that. And now obviously here with you. And it's just fun. Like, professional golf it's hard, and you spend a lot of time on the road kind of like playing very serious golf and working very hard at your craft. And this is just a little escape where you kind of have some fun and play different places and see where it takes you. It's good.
I proposed to my wife in Dominican.
Did you really?
Yeah, we went on a little holiday. Fresh face, no beard, and little lovebirds, and I ended up proposing to her on an island called Sayona Island, which is like this really nice tropical island.
Yeah, I'm sure it was gorgeous.
It was really good.
Casa de Campo, which is where like Teeth of the Dog is and stuff like that, and then where they host the PJ Tour event, Corrales, and amazing places. I've played some tournaments there, but never been there on like. It felt like a holiday. We were filming, but it felt like a holiday.
I must admit, I have to convince my wife when I've been on the trip like this that it's not a holiday.
Yeah, correct. It's hard to. Even my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, I'm going with the boys to the Dominican for work, I guess.
Kind of.
Yeah, but it's good fun. So this whole YouTube thing, it's new to me, but we're having fun with it for sure.
Just a quick one for people listening as well who can't appreciate this beautiful view, albeit obviously this is on our YouTube channel as well if you want to check it out. You might just hear a few little maintenance vehicles going past. Like I said, they're in full swing at the moment to get this place fully set up, ready for the grand opening. I also saw on your channel, I've not watched it yet, you actually released a tennis match, didn't you, against your sister?
Yeah.
Because for people who don't know, I think we might have talked about it on video before, your parents were professional tennis players.
Yeah, both my parents, very high level professional tennis players. My dad got to top 10 in the world and mum was top 20. And so kind of tied to my sister and I's narrative has always been tennis of some sort. She played it competitively until she picked up golf. I played it competitively until I picked up golf. So it's always been kind of part of our story. A son and daughter of former professional tennis players and things like that. And a question we always get asked is, who wins in a tennis match? And I was definitely the underdog in that tennis match.
Is your sister better?
I mean, she played it longer. And so she played it at a higher competitive level. She probably has better technique than I do, but I'm a bigger brother. So I'm not going to give away. If you guys want to go watch that, it's on my channel. But it was good fun.
I feel like you've got a very smug look in your eye.
Yeah, I don't know. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun filming that. That was something that, just like I said, it's been asked for so long. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to film it and post it on the channel. Anyone who asks me, go have a look.
Love it.
And we'll see who likes it. So something different for a golf channel to post a tennis match, but we're both good tennis players, so it's not like a couple chops going around there playing tennis. We actually know what we're doing. So yeah, it was good fun, and go check that out if you want to see who's a better tennis player.
What? Explain to me the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Or even you might want to stretch that period out for longer, because you've had quite an interesting career in professional golf so far. You know, you hit the scenes. How many years ago did you actually kind of hit
I turned pro in 2016, so it was my 8th year, yeah.
And you kind of came out all guns blazing, played PGA Tour events, you know, competed and did really well. And how would you kind of summarise, I'm going to get quite deep here, your kind of career so far? Yeah,
it's been an interesting one. I mean, obviously this question gets asked a lot. I turned pro at 17 to a fair bit of, let's call it fanfare or whatever you want to call it, new kid on the block. And as a 17, 18-year-old, I came out there and for my age did pretty well. I think the first year I made 5 out of 7 cuts on the PGA Tour, had a top 20. I think I made the cut in events like Memorial and Bay Hill and stuff as an 18-year-old. And I think looking back on those times, my biggest regret is that being a very competitive person, a very competitive athlete, I didn't give myself any credit for what I was doing at the time.
You almost felt like you underperformed to some degree.
Yeah, I felt like I was underperforming. I think I came about 28th or maybe 30th at Memorial as an 18-year-old, and I'm berating myself for not coming 10th. And I look back now being 25 years old, and I look back on it now, and if there was an 18-year-old doing the same thing, I'd be like, wow, he's a hell of a player, and he's got stuff to look forward to. And I think that's probably my biggest regret. Nothing that I did technically or nothing that I did from that point of view. I just think I got really hard on myself. And because of that, golf's such a fickle sport with confidence. If you're not the one beating your own confidence up, other people are going to tear it down. And if you're helping them tear your own confidence down, it's going to go down a pretty quick slope. And so for me, I went through a couple of years where I just didn't play well after that. I'd kind of been too hard on myself, didn't get the results I wanted, and started to be a bit bummed out by those results. Changed coaches a couple of times, and kind of things got a little messy there. And then kind of I played on the Corn Ferry Tour from 2020 to 2022. And played all right, never got my PGA Tour card, but kind of was middle of the order of merits. I think the first year I finished maybe 30th and I think top 25 got the cards, then about 60th, top 25 again get their card, and then I lost my card in 2022 because I was injured, and had a couple injuries, shoulder, back, those sorts of things, and it's tough with the medical exemption, so as much I figured I was going to be able to stop, recover, and then be able to go back out and play. But with the nature of medicals on the Corn Ferry Tour, it just wasn't the case. So I kind of just had to, for lack of a better word, just take some stuff and try and get through it. And it's no good playing golf like that. So
you almost, because of those medical issues, you almost have to hit reset a little bit.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, I think the hardest part about these tours is getting on them. Once you're on them, it's not nearly as hard to stay there. But getting there is the hardest part. There's such limited spots to get to the next level, whether that's through Q School or whether that's the feeder tours or whatever it might be. In my case, I got to the Corn Ferry Tour through finishing 6th on the Latin America Order of Merit, which got me to final stage Q School, which then got my card. So, yeah, I mean, for me, then losing my card, it's been tricky to get back on there. I spent last year, I went to Q School and I missed at second stage. I played on the Challenge Tour over the summer in 2023, and I played all right, but once again in 7 starts,
You mentioned that the course is just and not what you're used to.
Yeah, it was just, I think I wasted a couple of events not being prepared. I think as soon as I got the hang of things and what I was up against, I started to play really nicely and put together some consistent results over a few weeks. But when I first got over there, it just like caught me off guard. I've been playing Isleworth for months, and big, long golf course, hitting a lot of drivers, and ball striking's a premium. And then you get to the UK, not even the UK, just Europe in general. A lot of irons off the tees, premium on wedges, and kind of getting up and down, and creativity. And I like that style of golf, but you got to be ready for it.
It was totally different.
Correct.
It's again, it's like if I've played a long stretch of UK golf and then come out here to the States,
it's tough.
It feels like a totally different game.
Correct.
And you just did it the other way around.
Yeah. And so I played all right, but nothing spectacular. And so that's kind of my plan again this year, but hopefully with a little bit more preparation. That kind of leads me into this year, is I'm starting to play really nicely. I mean, I've been playing quite nicely for a decent while. It's just more about opportunity than anything else. And I should have some more opportunities this year in Europe to go over there and play. And I'm excited for that, because at least now I know what to expect. It's been before last year. The last time I played in Europe was, I think, in 2014 or 15. And this time I'll know what to expect. And as well as that, like I said, I'm working hard on the YouTube channel as well. So for me, the YouTube has kind of created a little bit of a side project while I haven't been playing as much competitively, to kind of get after. So a lot of exciting things.
Does that help with any kind of maybe sponsorship exemptions, or does it open a few conversations up around the fact that you can potentially add value to an event because you might post about it, vlog about it, make a video?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think it not only opens opportunities in terms of exemptions, but I think it opens opportunities just for myself as a brand. I think I'm able to, I guess when potential sponsors come to me or stuff like that, I'm able to pitch them as a brand as opposed to just results, if that makes sense. So I encourage a lot of professional golfers my age to do something like that, because another thing that got me going was that one of my favorite sports is the UFC outside of golf.
Yeah.
And those guys don't make a ton of money. So all of them nearly have channels to be able to give insight into what they're doing, gain an audience and stuff like that. So I feel like I know my favorite fighters really well because I watch them all the time.
Or someone like Paddy the Baddy.
Yeah, correct.
Does brilliant on his YouTube content.
Awesome, yeah. And I think that sort of thing was kind of an aha moment for me. I was like, people just see your name on a scoreboard, but they have no connection to you as a person. And I think golfers we're in a lucky spot that the top guys make a ton of money. So maybe you don't see the value in it. I see that there's a few guys starting to. Bryson's obviously stepped right into it, and he's doing a great job with it. And I think you'll see more. And I encourage people to do it, because I don't care how hard you practice, because I'm one of the hardest workers, I feel like, in terms of my craft and my professional golf. There's still a lot of downtime. There's still a lot of time that you spend, if you're not doing something else, thinking about your golf, stressing about your golf. Yeah.
Like, you guys travel so much.
Correct. And there's a lot of time where you're not doing a lot. And in that time, I like to be productive and work on something else and have my mind kind of still turning over and still thinking of new ideas and things that I could potentially create and have some fun with. And I think it's helped me both as a golfer and as a person too.
I think what was that was a fascinating kind of rundown of your professional career so far. What I found like a standout moment there was when you talked about how hard you were on yourself when you had good results at Memorial Bay Hill, and isn't it interesting, because you could have easily gone into that and lowered your expectation levels. Even just making the cut would have perceived as being an achievement, and actually then the whole narrative kind of your mindset can change quite quickly. And I think as golfers we're so hard on ourselves.
Correct.
You know, I certainly am, and I know a lot of people listening and watching are as well, that even if you've had your best round, there's always a niggle about, what about that putt that I missed, or what about that loose shot that I hit to the right, or you're never going to have a perfect round. Like, no one can master golf, can they? It's an impossible sport to master. Because even 18 birdies, as daft as it sounds, still isn't mastering it. No. Why didn't you eagle the par fives?
Correct.
You know, it's a crazy game, and I think it's funny because I give a lot of, certainly when I was coaching a lot of the time, almost advice like try and be your own best friend. Like give yourself advice that your best friend would give you.
100%.
But that's bloody hard when you're out there competing.
We're emotional, I think, as all golfers are. Whether you play once a week or whether you play once a month or you practice every day like I do, I think you get so invested into becoming better at this sport, and I think it kind of tricks you into thinking you are better, and then it humbles you a little bit, and then gives you a little bit more, and then humbles you again, and you're kind of always in this push and pull with this sport. And I think that's the beauty of it. And I think if you approach it in the right way, that truly is the beauty of it. But in the wrong way, it can tear your confidence apart. And I think that's why it's such an interesting sport in the sense that you hear so many people talk about, like, oh, I'm struggling with the putting yips, or I'm struggling with the chipping yips, or I'm struggling with the driver yips, or like all these different elements that different people who play all the time are struggling with. And it's really quite a simple game when you take it all back.
But it's kind of a game of spinning plates, though, because you've got, in golf, you've got so many plates to spin. Like, say, you're driving, your iron game, your pitching, your chipping, your putting, your bunker play, your mental approach. And sometimes you'll focus over here and spin these ones really well, and everything bloody over here falls down.
100%.
And this isn't, people have seen it on the channels, and this isn't me blowing smoke at your arse or anything, but you are an unbelievable ball striker. Like, you strike it. I mean, I've played with some incredible golfers, like PGA Tour pros. You hit it as good, if not better, than some of the guys I've played with. What do you feel is there a missing ingredient? Do you feel like there's a weakness in your game? And also on the flip side, what do you actually think the strength in your game is as well?
Yeah, I think probably, I don't know if it's a physical part, but sometimes, like I said, I'm such I want to say in a lot of ways a realist. So for me to gain a ton of confidence, I want to see results on a scoreboard. So sometimes I wish I was better at tricking myself into confidence, if that makes sense. But if we want to talk about an aspect of the game that I would probably like to be better at, it'd probably be short game, I'd say. I think to most people, my short game will look fantastic because I practice a lot.
To most people, it is.
Yeah, I practice a lot. But I think, Jason Day, one of my closest friends and a guy that I practice a lot with, he's kind of the benchmark for everyone, but certainly the benchmark for me. And I struggle to beat him in chipping comps and
crazy,
on course and that sort of stuff. And I really see the level that he's able to produce shots around the green and kind of spots that maybe I give away a shot that he's able to save one. And it's not much. Like, the difference between sitting where I am right now, not having full status or any status on the PGA Tour, and him being pretty close, if not already in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, to be honest though, he's made a resurgence over the last couple of years. He kind of really went off the boil.
Yeah, he did. And I think, he's just such a hard worker, and just as soon as he sets his mind to something, he's going to be back. And he's worked hard on his golf swing and his chipping and everything, and so he deserves being back to where he's at. But yeah, going back to your question, I think short game. I think if I just had a few more shots around the green,
and is it the routine ones? Like, let's say you are having a chipping comp with Jason, right? And you've got a fairly routine chip. Are you fairly kind of level there, or is there even a difference on just the routine ones? Are you putting it within 2 feet and he's nearly holding it?
I'd say he's better at the routine stuff. I'd say when it gets into the more creative, harder shots is where actually I'm pretty good.
Right. It's
more like a basic up and down, because we don't like practicing those that much. They're fine, hitting a little 56 degree that checks up and runs, it's a shot you need, but it's not that fun to practice.
Well, you practice the silly ones, don't we?
Exactly. And I think he's really good at that. He'll miss a par 5 in a little bowl up by the green and have a pin that's 5 or 6 paces off, and it's a tricky shot, but a pretty basic one, and he's able to just put that in a very stress-free kind of range a large percentage of the time. While mine might go to maybe 5-6 foot, where you're averaging 70% or 60% make rate, which is a big difference. And if that's 1.5 shots around, that's now 6 shots a tournament. That adds up over a year.
Of course it does.
6 shots on a leaderboard, that's a lot of money, a lot of points, and a long way from the lead. So it's very, very, very small margins, but if I keep improving my short game, I think to complement kind of what I think is great about my game, which is how far I hit it off the tee and my ball striking, and I think I'm a very confident putter too. I think that'll take me to where I want to be.
And what are you actually specifically working on with your short game? Is it? Do you feel like it is technique? Do you feel like it's the different mindset? Do you feel like it's that kind of positivity? What are you actually specifically trying to tweak with your short game?
So I think there's a few things. I think number one thing that I want to get better at short game wise is shot selection. I think I often choose harder shots than need to be chosen around the greens. the more I find there is such a good argument to putt a lot of shots around the green. Like, and I'm not saying that from a point of view of just like your average golfer. Like, for a professional golfer, there is a big argument to putt a lot of shots around the green, especially on the surfaces that we play on.
Off the fringes, they're pretty much putting greens anyway. And
a lot of the fairways that we play on too. Like, unless there is something really in the way or you're like significantly far off the green, there is a big argument to putt a lot of shots. And so I think shot selection is one of them. There's so many different options that I could go to, and I love to just grab my 60 and go up there and hit a chip. I think shot selection's one, and then understanding different grasses and different lies.
That's really hard.
And I think that's one that viewers at home may not know quite as much about, but Florida, Bermuda, and Australian grass, and then the grass in the UK, and then the bent grass in California.
Even like grass in Dubai.
Yeah.
Like, it all still...
When you get onto Pas Power, Mazoya, something like that, they're all completely different, require different shots, different techniques. So I think the understanding how those different things react, what's the easier shots to play on those different grasses, and then being able to put that into play. And I think it's that more than technical.
You know, it's almost a little bit like, and I've only just twigged it now, kind of talking to you, like tennis. The game of tennis is the same, but then you can play it on clay. You can play it on
of each surface.
Grass. You can play it on tarmac, I guess. Like, and they all react different, I guess.
Very different.
You know, and I suppose that's a little bit like short game off different types of surfaces. Like, so say it's still a short, but it can be done. It can be done on really hard linksy turf in Scotland at St Andrews, for argument's sake, or round here where it's Bermuda grass sometimes, and then it's other types of grass all the time. It's like, it's really. I genuinely, and I know my short game isn't the best, but when it's not as good, and then you're trying to change the grass, because you might master one surface, then you come into another, you go, this feels like a totally different game. And it can be so penal.
Yeah, and I think that's, like you said there, and when you look at tennis, there's masters of each surface, and there's other players who just haven't been able to get on top. Like Roger Federer won however many majors, and he won one French Open. Just clay was tough for him. Nadal won almost all his majors on clay, but struggled a little bit more on hard court. Djokovic is a master of hard court. Like, he's master of all the surfaces, really, Djokovic, but hard court in particular.
And that's what you're trying to become.
Yeah, really. So you're trying to become as well-rounded as you can and have the shots for all the different problems that you're going to have out there. And that's tricky because they require different techniques and different clubs.
What do you think about professional golf right now?
The state of it? It's interesting. It's very interesting. Like, it is, by the day, becoming more split in half. I think if we had this conversation a year ago, we probably still wouldn't have given LIV much creed in terms of the players that they had. But it's hard to ignore kind of the John Rahms of the world now, and obviously Cam and Brooks, Dustin, Bryson. I've probably missed a few there, but it's hard to ignore. Selfishly, as a professional golfer myself, I wish, and a fan of the sport myself, I wish it was together, because I think we're getting a little bit of a diluted product on both ends.
I think it's putting people off watching golf.
Yeah, because I think you look at an event like Torrey last week, which is notoriously a huge event for the tour, and notoriously one that Tiger's won and J-Day's won, and it feels like who's won that one. And last week felt like a very, in all respect to all those guys, I know them all well, they're fantastic players, but in terms of your star power, was a little bit watered down. And I think even this week on LIV, like, I feel like we're getting to a point close to the event and we don't even know who's playing this week.
No.
And we're the week of the tournament. Like, not a lot of team announcements, not a lot of anything like that. So
I think just before this podcast, we're recording this on the 30th of Jan. Hopefully it's going to come out tomorrow. Is John Rahms just announced his team.
Okay.
And it's now official that Tyrrell Hatton is actually part of the team. But then the other two guys, not really well-known names. I don't really know them at all.
Who was it? Was it Caleb Surratt? I think was the amateur.
Yes.
That had just turned pro.
Who qualified at that?
No, he didn't qualify. He's an amateur from Tennessee, I believe.
Well, it's the guy who qualified in Abu Dhabi.
And then the guy who qualified in Abu Dhabi, Kieran Vincent.
Yeah.
That's
it.
Yeah. So,
I mean, two big names and two kind of.
Yeah.
I don't really know them, but
it's hard.
It's so hard.
It's like John Rahm's arguably the best player in the world right now. If he's not number one, he's top three.
Yeah.
And it's a weird one, because once again, all my respect to all those boys playing, but it's strange. Like, I think if you made the team, I think LIV's format would be okay if you had every single one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
That'd be quite exciting. But you don't.
You don't. It's funny. Like we were over here the weekend just been here, right? Tory was on TV, and I was sat there with a fairly loose sports fan, a golf fan. I wouldn't say he was really knowing golf, and he was saying, "Oh, who's that on the leaderboard?" For the first time, I was like, don't really know. Yeah. There's quite a lot of names on there. I was like, I don't really know who that is. Yeah. Like, where normally you look at a Tory leaderboard and you're like, I know every single one of those guys. Correct, from Tory Pines or even this week at Pebble Beach, you're like, I know every single one of those top 10 names, like the household names almost. And I feel like it's fractured, from a spectator standpoint, I feel like it's fractured a lot at the moment.
Yeah, I think selfishly as professional golfers, I think there's so much access to money right now. So I think a lot of players are viewing it from that lens, and that's good too. Like, you have to look after yourself before other people in life, I think, and that's the way it is. But it's just from a fan's perspective, and that's the kind of the lens that I'm trying to view it as. It's hard because I know most of these guys that are playing, and it's weird not seeing them compete against each other all the time. Weird. And that's why the majors have kind of accidentally become way more intriguing. Yeah. Because we only time we get them all together is 4 times a year. Maybe the Ryder Cup if that changes around a little bit. But really only 4 times a year. So they've actually, like I said, accidentally become super intriguing.
But as much as I love the Ryder Cup, for an Aussie, it's not that, you still miss out. The Ryder Cups, you still miss out on a Cam Smith. You still miss out on some huge names in the world of golf. So I feel like the majors are the only ones, and once some of these guys have gone past their 5-year exemption, they're not going to be seen again, potentially.
Depending on how this world ranking system pans out or anything like that. I can see that LIV's obviously making a push to get some points. They're like that LIV promotions event they did.
You played in that?
I did play in that.
You did play in that. So what? Just give us a bit of an insight, because I remember when you messed, I was actually in Dubai at the same time. Yeah. I'm in Abu Dhabi playing.
Yeah, we nearly linked up and did something there. But all credit. I mean, I've spent all my career on PJ Tour affiliated tours. PJ Tour, Korn Ferry, Latin America, Canada.
You did a bit of Challenge Tour last year.
Yeah, but basically most of my career has all been PJ Tour sanctioned. I must say that LIV Promotions event was top class.
Really?
It was phenomenal.
How you got treated as a player?
Yeah, just how you got treated as a player. You got paid to be there, first of all, so nothing came out of your pocket.
Really?
And that's fantastic. Like, for people playing in that, it may not seem like a lot, but that's important. Like, it's expensive to play Q schools, and playing in PJ Tour Q school is very, very expensive. Just the entry fee, let alone everything that comes with it. So to have everything covered was very cool. It really felt like you were at a big professional event. There was a camera crew with every group. There was camera towers on every tee, every green, the shuttle services, the host hotels, the organization of the travel to get there, the way you were treated on site, the quality of the range balls and stuff that when you were there, it was a top tier event. Like,
it felt like a
big tour event, and you're playing like more or less a Q school.
For what was it, 3 players that made it into LIV?
Yeah, and a strange format, probably not a fun format as a fan, maybe not the best format for a Q school. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. I thought the format was a little interesting, but it's probably intriguing as a fan. Like a sudden death almost style Q school on TV is pretty exciting. But yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about that.
I'm guessing your goal was to qualify.
Yeah, of course, my goal was to qualify. I absolutely would have loved to. I came in playing a little rough, and it was kind of a last minute thing, me even getting in, and so I was a bit like, all right, well, hopefully I can sort this out in the next few days. So I was just, my best club, my driver, I felt like I was hitting it everywhere. And I'm going to, was it Abu Dhabi Golf Club? Yeah, which is
lots of water.
Yeah, but just a phenomenal golf course. Yep. Like one where drivers have won the golf ball. I think Rory's had a lot of success there. Yeah. I don't think he's won, but he's had a ton of success. Keimer and Fleetwood and all those like great ball strikers. So it was annoying being there, being like, God, this course suits me so well, but I feel like I've brought my C game this week. So yeah, obviously goal was there to qualify. Didn't play too well, didn't get through, but still, all in all, just a phenomenal experience and a good insight for me into what LIV Golf is kind of providing. What's
your main objective, as in like pecking order? So let's say we're sat here next year, okay, and you've had a wonderful season. You've played really well, and what's your absolute perfect scenario?
By this time next year, I would love to have got my card on the PGA Tour. There's now ways to do that in a year, so that's Q School. They now have opened up cards through Q School to be on the PGA Tour. So ultimately for me, that would be it. But I would absolutely love the ultimate goal is to be top 10 in the world and consistently winning and competing on the PGA Tour. But I don't want to let this YouTube stuff go.
Of course.
I think it's fun, and I think people enjoy seeing their favorite players and knowing them.
And you're good at it.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone would be.
Yeah, I don't think everyone would be, but whether or not they are or they aren't, I think there's a lot of people that relate to every sort of personality.
Of course.
And I think giving people that insight is really, really cool. I think that creates a better environment for golf fans in general. I mean, you just look at your channel or the Good Guys or Luke or even like that. They're more visible and more known than half, at least, of the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And people feel like they really know them. And it's funny, even traveling to Dominican Maquon, like people coming up to him being like, oh, I love when you did this, I love when you did that. I couldn't say that about a lot of PGA Tour players. So it'd be really cool to be competing at the highest level in the sport, but also being able to give my fans and people that enjoy following me like a really good insight into what my life looks like and what training and travel and everything else looks like as well.
So that's objective one. Let's say that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. End of the season, off season, get a phone call. It's LIV.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
You going?
I don't have enough money to be saying no to that. Like I'm 25 and been doing the professional golf thing for a little while, and it's expensive, it's hard, and absolutely, if I get a chance, I mean, I said both sides are watered down a little bit. So there's still phenomenal fields on both sides. If I get a chance to compete with Rahm and Brooks and DJ and Cam and all that sort of stuff week in, week out, I'll absolutely go, and it'd be life-changing. But I still think priority number one would be PGA Tour for me. I want to play majors. I want to win majors. I feel like my game can do that.
What would happen though? You
50-50?
PGA Tour, you've got pathways, world ranking, everything else to get into majors. At the moment, it doesn't look like there's going to be pathways for LIV. You might sacrifice that.
Yeah, you do. I still think in my position at the moment, like I'm not on Korn Ferry or PGA, so playing competitively is kind of number one priority, because that's what ultimately keeps you sharp, is playing against other good players. So I think for me, I would still do that in hopes that everything will come together. I do have a feeling based on nothing that things will come together eventually. I just don't know that. I know the PIF and whatever are capable of spending as much money as they want, but I don't feel like any good business person just spends money expecting no return at some point.
It's calculated.
Yeah, like I don't think it's just this free spend and we're just going to have fun spending money. Like I do think there is some sort of something there to make it profitable at some point. I don't know if that involves the PGA Tour or not.
Well, very soon. I think it was the end of 2023. We should have had an answer.
Yeah, but they extended that.
That's been pushed back, I think, to springtime.
Yeah,
something's going to have to happen soon.
Something's going to have to happen.
Because players are going to start getting annoyed.
Yeah, correct. And so I think my hope is that it all comes together. My end goal with all of that would be the fall series that they have on the PGA Tour, run 10 LIV events. Yeah. Like that would be exciting and be fun, kind of like they want to do with the TGL. But make it all the best players in the world, have huge purses, the best fields. Now I don't know, LIV might be too established for that now. Maybe that was a conversation early on that they needed to have.
To be honest, that was the conversation they wanted to have.
Yeah.
So when I years ago when I interviewed Andy Gardner, who pretty much had the premise of LIV before LIV existed, the Premier Golf League, they wanted it to be an add-on to the PGA Tour. It wasn't supposed to be a breakaway league.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't believe that the powers to be at PGA Tour wanted to entertain that conversation. Then obviously it stemmed something else. But for me, there needs to be more events where you can guarantee the players being at, because it's messy at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
Even a couple of weeks ago, you've got some top tier players playing in Dubai, like Rory and Tommy and a few others. You then had a PGA Tour event going on at the same time. You had a few really good players. Then you had soon we'll be having LIV events happening at the same. It's like, where the hell are people? Yeah. Imagine if you're a real casual golf fan.
Yeah.
Who won the best event this year?
Yeah.
This week, sorry. Yeah. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
It's really difficult to say. So I hope and pray that there's going to be a collective come together. I think It'll be really interesting to see what happens though. Where if let's say John Rahm's just taken whatever 600 million, and then there's a coming together. Has he not just made the best business decision in the world?
Yeah, I think the players that went to LIV are probably in the negotiating position.
I feel like they're in the driving seat.
Yeah, it does feel like they're the ones in control because they've got the money. Anything that comes together only suits them. Because the money's in their bank account. Well,
they've made that decision to go, this is where we're at, and this is what we're doing.
So I do think that they're in the driving seat when it comes to this. I don't know if we're delusional thinking that something will come together, or if we're just too optimistic, or if that's legitimately a chance that happens, but I certainly hope so, because I want to see it.
One interesting question on when you said about, you'd go to LIV if they called. Would you be bothered what team you're on? Would they kind of be...
I'd love to play on that Australian team.
The Rippers?
Yeah, but no, I don't think so.
Because I think that's where it gets a little bit lost. And again, I like what you just said there, the Australian team.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is really, the Rippers team is the Australian team.
I
don't think everyone's Australian from memory.
No, they are.
All four members?
All four members. I think this year it's going to be Cam Smith, Matt Jones, Lucas Herbert, and I am missing one, right? Leash. Yeah.
See, that to me makes sense.
That's cool.
An Australian team.
That's what I thought Rahm was doing.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to have a Spanish team.
Yeah.
I thought he might have Sergio. I mean, they kind of do have a Spanish team like that. I can't remember what they call
Fireballs.
Yeah. So they have like Eugenio, Sergio. It's Carlos Ortiz on there, I believe, but he's Mexican, so not quite the same. And then they have David Puig, who's also Spanish. I think, is that right?
I don't think you'd have had Sergio as a captain and Rahm as a captain.
Yeah,
I don't think Sergio would have.
I thought they would
captain.
maybe kind of like all this mix and match. Like I thought maybe they make a Spanish team, but
I think that's the thing, that it's very difficult for fans to support a team. I think Aussies have got it made. The event in Adelaide, am I right in saying? It's an amazing event from what I've been told.
From people in Oz, it does.
And
great.
You've got a team to support. So it's like, it makes total sense. You're not bothered about the Ryder Cup because it's not.
And the Majestics are more or less like, then Stenson's almost in there. Like, Stenson's in there.
You've obviously got Sam Horsfield, who's UK, even though he's born and raised in America. Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, and then obviously Henrik Stenson. But I feel possibly...
There needs to be a storyline behind the teams. Like, there needs to be something pulling the team together, not just these random names that are just part of a team. I think then it's easier to follow. It's easier than even me saying the Australian team. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be that across, and I don't know how you do that. I don't know if you do that nationality-wise. I don't know if you do that in terms of... I don't know how else you would do it. But
I think nationality had made the most sense.
Yeah.
Because even if, let's say, you could have multiple American teams, which is still fine, because you have a West Coast, whatever, East Coast team, that kind of makes sense a little bit. I've seen that's what like TGL are trying to do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite make sense when you've got like Boston Common, which is a...
and you got Rory and Tyrrell.
Tyrrell not anymore.
Not anymore, but he was. Like, what do they have to do with Boston?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a bit of a...
Rory's from Ireland, lives in West Palm.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you've got like an LA team, which I've seen that like Justin Rose is signing up with.
it's just... Yeah, there needs to be a storyline to it. There needs to be something tying it together. I think Formula One does a good job. I mean, obviously the big sponsor comes in and names their team. Like if you had maybe Team TaylorMade or something like that, and they all played.
I think that'll happen.
Yeah, I imagine that's the way they want to go.
I really, really could see that happening. Like,
but then again, if you do that, if you get the wrong person or the wrong group to sponsor something, like, is it really going to be that keen to watch? Like, say, and I shouldn't probably throw a company out there, but like, say it was like Team Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Like, cool, like big company who has the money to do that. But like, what does that even mean? Like,
there's no affiliation.
Yeah, like it needs to be the right. I think it needs to be the right fit.
I think, like say, F1's got it right with the car manufacturers.
Yeah, correct.
Because you can support a manufacturer from your country.
Yeah, correct.
So if you're Italian, straight away you support Ferrari.
Yeah.
But then also, if like the UK, I'm a big Lewis Hamilton fan because he's from the UK. So it's like I can support Lewis, but I could also, I could probably support Mercedes-Benz, because that kind of feels like the most English team. You've got George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. But I feel at the moment the teams are not. I can't connect with the teams at all.
No, neither can I.
And I don't fully believe the players do. I think some of them are trying.
They're trying, yeah. I think honestly, my favourite name that stuck out to me since day one is the Majestics. I don't know. That kind of suits Pulse and
Yeah.
like an English team for some reason.
Yeah.
I think they've got the branding kind of right on that one.
I think
and
they're
like,
the team that are trying to be the best team.
yeah, and most like commercialized and like that sort of thing. They seem to be doing a lot. I know they released like a series even the other day on YouTube to kind of
it's
show.
good. I watched a bit
I
of
haven't
it.
watched it.
But then you've got 3 captains.
Yeah, which is weird.
And then it's like, that's a bit weird.
Yeah. Just from the get-go, I thought that name and the sounding of it and who was on the team, that made the most sense. But you get to like the cliques and even Smash, like Crushes, like I don't know, those names.
And it kind of doesn't make sense. Like Taylor Gooch, who were on the Range Goats, who had the best season last year, has suddenly now jumped over to Smash and Brooks' team.
Yeah, and they've given him Matt Wolf.
Doesn't
like,
make sense.
Yeah, it's just...
Anyway, we could talk forever.
You talk forever on that. It's cool, good on him. I wish I was on LIV myself.
There you go.
I also wish I was on the PGA Tour, so...
Let's be honest, as a professional golfer, you want to make as much money as possible and win as many titles as possible. That's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, and if I got a chance to play on either of the big tours, I would absolutely take it. That gives me a chance to compete against the best players, make the most money, win the biggest tournaments. Wouldn't matter to me, so... Yeah.
Do you believe sometimes this kind of narrative that they're doing it to grow the game and all this, or is that... They're not. They're doing it for money, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing it for... you wouldn't see them doing it for the same amount of money that they were earning year after. If you got their average earnings on the PGA Tour over the last 5 years and offered them that per year over the next few years, nobody would have left.
No.
And that's the end of the story on that one.
It's all about money.
It's all about the money.
I kind of wish... Probably Howard Varner was the only one that really came out and said...
He was honest. And even Rahm, to a certain extent, he said, look, like... I think when he was on, what show was it? When he came up in that jacket and announced that he was on LIV, he more or less said, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it wasn't about the money. And I was like, okay, at least good on you. But then I think he backed that up with like, growing the game and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think a World Tour is good. I think that does grow the game.
I think a World Tour would be amazing.
I think a World Tour is great. I think that does grow the game. I don't think that is the intent behind it though.
And I like the off season.
Yeah.
Like to some degree, I've kind of missed seeing some of these big names.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree.
I'm like, what have they been doing?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to be better? Like Dustin Johnson shared a clip the other day, like in practice.
He's been practicing a bit more than usual.
Is he going to come out and be amazing this year, or is he not? I don't know. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Right, Ryan, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, mate. Good chat.
Do follow Ryan on his YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the top line of the description. Check him out on Instagram as well. And now we're going to go out and Ryan, I'm going to play some shots. He's going to go and shoot a course record here at Cabot Citrus Farms here in Florida. See you next time.